Welcome to our English Learning Channel. Do you want to improve your English listening skills? Look no further. We're here to help you. Are you ready to dive into a world full of adventures and mysteries? Join us in this exciting series of stories that will take you on an unforgettable journey. Get ready to train your ears to English in a fun and exciting way and discover a new world of phrases and vocabulary. Let's go.
Once upon a time in a small village, there lived a man named Joe. Joe was a poor man, but his heart was poorer. He was selfish, greedy, and rude. Joe always thought only about himself. He never helped anyone and never cared about anyone's feelings. All he wanted was more money and more things for himself. Joe lived in a tiny old house on the edge of the village. The house was falling apart. But Joe didn't care. He didn't clean it or fix it because he thought, why should I? No one ever comes to see me, so why should I care? Every day, Joe would go to the market to buy food, but he never paid a fair price. He always argued with the sellers, trying to get everything as cheap as possible. Sometimes he even stole food when no one was looking. One day, as Joe was walking home from the market, he saw an old man sitting by the side of the road. The old man looked tired and hungry. He asked Joe, "Can you please give me some food or water? I haven't eaten in days." Joe looked at the old man and said, "Why should I help you? I don't have enough for myself. You should go and find your own food." Then Joe walked away, leaving the old man hungry and thirsty. Joe didn't feel sorry for him at all. He thought helping others is a waste of time and money. I have to look after myself first. A few days later, Joe was walking through the forest near his house. As he walked, he saw something shiny on the ground. He bent down to pick it up and found a small bag filled with gold coins. Joe's eyes lit up with greed. "I'm rich," he thought. "Now I can buy anything I want. I don't need to worry about anything anymore." Joe quickly ran back to his house and locked the door. He sat at his table and poured the gold coins out of the bag. He counted them over and over again, smiling to himself. Joe was so happy with his newfound wealth that he decided to stop going to the market. He didn't want anyone to know that he had so much money. Instead, he stayed inside his house all day, counting his gold and dreaming about what he could buy with it. As the days went by, Joe became more and more greedy. He didn't want to spend any of his gold, so he stopped buying food and other things he needed. He became thin and sickly, but he didn't care. All he could think about was his gold. He locked his doors and windows. Afraid that someone might try to steal his money one night, a terrible storm hit the village. The wind howled and the rain poured down in sheets. Joe's old house began to shake, and the roof started to leak. Water poured in through the holes in the roof, and the wind blew open the windows. Joe grabbed his bag of gold and tried to hold on to it, but the water kept rising in. Soon the water was so high that it started to wash the gold coins. Away Joe tried to catch them, but it was no use. The water was too strong, and the gold was carried away by the flood. When the storm finally ended, Joe's house was in ruins. The roof had collapsed, and all of his belongings were gone. The gold was nowhere to be found. Joe was left with nothing. He sat in the middle of his broken house and cried. He had lost everything, and he was all alone. As Joe sat there, the old man he had refused to help walked by. The old man saw Joe sitting in the ruins of his house and came over to him. "What happened to you?" the old man asked. Joe looked up at the old man and said, "I lost everything in the storm. My house is destroyed, and my gold is gone. I have nothing left." The old man looked at Joe and said, "You see, Joe, this is what happens when you are greedy and selfish. You had a chance to help others, but you didn't. You only thought about yourself, and now you have lost everything. But it's not too late. You can change. You can learn to be kind and help others. That is worth more than all the gold in the world. Joe listened to the old man and realized that he was right. Joe had been selfish and greedy all his life, and it had brought him nothing but misery. He decided that it was time to change. From that day on, Joe started to help others. He fixed his house with the help of his neighbors, and he started to work hard to earn an honest living. He was no longer rude and selfish. Instead, he was kind and helpful. Joe never became rich again, but he was happy. He had friends who cared about him, and he had a good life. Joe learned that being kind and helping others was far more valuable than gold. And from then on, he lived a good life full of love and happiness.
If you found the video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.